Oscars plus Loop and Larry equals spectacular. If my math is correct, you'll see the 5th annual Loop and Larry Oscar Spectacular. If it's not correct, you'll see this. Huh? Either way, it will be better than Madam Web, but not by much.
In a world filled with intergalactic space battles, metahuman destruction on a global scale, and psychopathic serial hauntings, there's only one team who can make sense of it all. When your world is overrun with rampant pop culture, call Loop and Larry, Guardians of Geek.
Oscar night. Woo!
Oscar explosion.
Hey, everybody, I'm Loop.
And I'm Larry.
And this is Guardians of Geek. This is our special, this is like our 5th annual Oscar recap show, our Oscar Spectacular. And Oscars were just last night. So this is an early morning record for us the day after. So I work early in the morning, so I'm a little pie-eyed right now from I'm coming right in this hot. So it should be good.
And I just woke up, so I barely know where I am, so I'm good.
So this is great.
Yeah.
We want to get the show out. Obviously, we wanted to get it out on the Monday, and so we're recording it now. But yeah, it's pretty cool. The Oscars last night, and I think we'll do our hits and misses. We'll talk about the Oscars and what we thought of them. We're not going to go through the list of everybody that won because you can look that up anywhere. Obviously, some of that will come out as we're talking. But I think before we start, I think like we have every year, we got to take a quick look at the Razzes, which are the worst in film. Number one question before we start talking about this, is the Razzies something that should still keep going, or do you think it's run its course?
Oh no, I think it should keep going. I think that there are movies out there that deserve to be recognized for how bad they ended up being, and why the studios allow. Maybe it'll force studios to start second guess releasing movies just for the sake of releasing movies. That's what I think. It's rather to keep the industry in check. That's what. That's okay. So I think they're important. I think they serve a valuable purpose. Yes.
So some of the ones that won last or yesterday, or I guess this would have been Saturday, right? They were on.
Yes, usually the day before.
Yeah. So Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey sort of ran away with a lot of the award. I think 5 of these awards is that from that movie. I thought it's not great, that movie. I could see why it was in there for sure.
Yes, it's not. I mean, it's definitely not a great movie. And I mean, we saw it together, and we were both questioning it throughout the movie. Fortunately, we were in one of those theaters that was virtually empty, so we could talk through it.
Yes.
And we questioned a lot of their decisions as we were watching it. So it doesn't surprise me at all that it made the top of the list at the Razzies this year.
And the actor award went to John Voight for Mercy. I didn't see that.
I don't know anything about that, nor will I watch it now. So thanks for that, Razzies.
And actress was Megan Fox for Johnny and Clyde.
Yep.
I did not see that.
No Megan Fox, don't know Johnny and Clyde. I don't know where these movies ever run or where they're seen or who knows about these things, but
Megan Fox also won supporting actress as well.
Good job.
It was a twofer for The Expendables. The 4th of the Expendable series. I think it's Expendables.
Is that what we're saying?
I don't even know how it's said, to be honest. I think it has a 4 in the middle of it, so you got to say it as you see it.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that really should be a Razzie Award onto its own. Movie titles with numbers in the middle of the title, just because they can. That's not
because they can. I think when we did our year end, that was Backstage Ben's worst movie of the year, I believe. Yes. So
good on Megan Fox for showing up this year and doing her work.
And Stallone also won best or worst supporting actor for that movie as well. But the funny part is that this is I think this puts him in double digits of wins for Razzies. So
awesome.
for acting Razzies. So that's awesome.
I think it's great. I don't know, like I know that there are some actors who actually attend the ceremony and like accept it and just go with it as you know for what it is. And so I don't know how, like I assume that all of these people who win actually get the award, like get the little
I'm
trophy.
assuming so.
And do
I
you
know a
put
few
it out?
people have. I think Halle Berry showed up one year and
Yeah,
accepted hers. They, but it wasn't live. Like it's like actually pre-taped because I watched part of it.
yep.
And they give it, but it was terrible. Like the presentation of it was just awful. Like so, I like it wasn't
Well, I
like
mean,
entertaining.
would you expect anything else from from an award ceremony that honors the worst of the worst?
I guess not.
Be a terrible show. Like I think that's part of the thing. Absolutely. Razzies
Yeah.
are fun.
So anyways, yeah, I like the idea of the Razzies. I don't know if they're 100% necessary, but I mean, they're fun. There's just a fun
Ah,
way to kind of like to put everybody in check of like it's
yeah,
like not everybody's movies are the best or whatever. But I feel
exactly.
bad sometimes for some of these people that are nominated, but
Yes. Yeah, but sometimes you know what? They deserve it.
yeah,
They should,
sometimes
should
they
just
do.
not, you know, I mean, there's a difference between working on a project because you're passionate about it and then working on a project just for a paycheck. It shows.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Sometimes you
shows.
just need, yeah, sometimes you just need to get paid.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so beyond that, last night was the 96th annual Academy Awards,
Yep.
hosted by Jimmy Kimmel. We're gonna do our hits and misses on this and see what we thought of it. It's like our Super Bowl
Yeah.
essentially of
It is.
what. So, because I know people that don't even watch it, and then I'm like, I'm like glued from start to finish on this thing. So,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I mean, we had to rush through dinner so that we could watch the red carpet because my wife loves the red carpet. And
yeah,
then you know, and then it literally is like the Super Bowl for movie geeks. It's
it is.
just, I mean, we all know that it like the wins don't necessarily reflect the actual goodness of a movie
Yeah.
or of a performance. A lot of it is campaigning, how much money they spend in campaigning. You know, there's politics that are involved. It's the who you know, it's those sorts of things. So we understand that, but it's just the glamour of it, and it's like the
Yeah.
like glitziest Hollywood thing you could do. I mean, it's just so Hollywood.
Everything's
And
on the highest level, like everything they do for it, right? So it's just a cool, great, and it's broadcast around the world, and everybody's watching it, and there's like people nominated from around the world, so it is a global event, and it's a lot of fun to watch, and we put the stakes higher because we watch all the movies, like of at least the best picture, which usually represents a good portion of the people that are nominated, as far as like at least actors and actresses. So,
yes,
um, so
this is true.
that part's cool. Like it's
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah, I mean, it's something we actually work towards. It's not, you know, I mean, we do have to put in time to watch the movies, to find the movies, to find time to watch the movie. You know, I mean, so we it's a personal investment as well, right? Of our
yeah,
own
yep.
time. You know, it's not like, I mean, the Super Bowl is the Super Bowl, but you don't have to, I mean, I guess you have to, people who are diehards have to watch all the games and know what's going on. So I guess it's the same thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
we put in the time and the effort. So it's not just a TV show for us. It's, you know, we have to, and then of course we have to fill out our ballots, and then there's the like finding out how well we do every year, you know, guessing predicting the winners. And
Yep.
so there's some competition. It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
It is a big deal. And I've been doing this for quite a few years now, watching all the movies. But one of the reasons I watch it's because I get to see movies that I wouldn't normally watch, or maybe
Yes.
I missed, or there's like, because there's always movies in there that you're like when would I ever like come across Zone of Interest and watch it, right? Like so stuff like that's kind of neat to have seen and be able to watch. And it just kind of rounds out like your whole, like as a movie lover, it just sort of rounds out what you've seen. And
Yeah.
it's I love it. Like I just love it.
And that's a good point too, is that a lot of the best picture nominees every year are movies that we wouldn't ordinarily go and see. Like they're just
Yeah.
not in our zone of interest.
Yeah.
Let's just say. But yeah, I mean they're really not. But every time we go to see one of these movies, we recognize why it's been nominated.
Yeah.
Like they are, I mean, it's rare that we will watch a best picture nominee and say, "Ah, it was terrible. I hated that movie. I don't understand why." Virtually all of them have some redeeming factor, and we're always surprised by how good these movies are, and the movies, like you said, that we would not normally see.
Yeah.
So I think there's a benefit in that too. is, like you said, just expanding our knowledge of film.
Yep. And I think because of this too, like some of these movies, like we wouldn't see because they're just not available to be seen. You know, they're hard to find. But when the Oscars come out, like when the nominations are announced, these movies are suddenly available, whether they were already on a streamer, which didn't exist like really 4 or 5 years ago in the way it is now. Or like some of them would never get released to a regular like Cineplex or an AMC or whichever. Now they do because people want or have an interest in seeing them. So I think that's great.
That's right. And we end up renting. I mean, there are some that you can't get anywhere else, and we end up renting them. So it's a good, I mean, it's a really fun thing for movie aficionados like us. So
yeah,
there's a lot of value.
So before we start our hits and misses, what was your Oscar score?
Really, really bad this year.
Oh no.
Like literally the worst score I've ever had. And this, I have to preface this by saying I watched more Oscar nominated movies this year than I have, I think, ever. I watched 53 nominated films, including the short.
Good for you.
There were 53. I watched 25 of the 53.
Okay. Oh, awesome.
So,
good.
I mean, that was more than half of them that I watched, or no, I guess no, less than half, about 47%.
Yeah.
But I watched, so I was, I thought I am 100% prepared. I cleared 14 out of the 23 categories. I watched everything in 14 out of the 23 categories. 60% of the categories I watched. I was ready to go. And then I forgot to fill out my ballot until literally 5 minutes before the show started.
That's what I did too.
I rushed through the ballot and I forgot literally everything that I had read or learned about the odds, about who won the SAGs, who won the Director Guild, who won everything else. Totally blanked out and just put down things that I thought might win. And I ended up with a score of 12 out of 23. Horrible.
It is hard. I got 14 out of 23 and I started off really hot and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like acing this. And then all of a sudden it just started like, I got to the screenplay awards and it just like started bombing. I'm like, oh, why did I pick that? Because some of them I kind of knew what might win, but then I picked something that I thought could, like, cause that's how you win these, is picking those oddball ones. And so I had a couple oddball ones and they just didn't come through for me. So,
but I also went with, like, in the top picks, I went with what I felt should win, which is never a good idea because it's like, I mean, for example, I had Poor Things as Best Picture when I knew deep down that Oppenheimer was going to win. Like, I knew it.
If there was any film that could have taken it though, it would have been that one. So,
and that's why I thought, you know what, I'm going to play the odds. I might come out really big here and get the win, but nope.
You thought it was good. You thought it was going to crash it. Remember when Crash won Best Picture, and it was like, it was not expected for that movie to win, but occasionally those movies win. You never know like what's going to happen. So
that's it.
But well, let's fire into our hits and misses, and then we'll see what we both have, and we might have some of the same ones. We might have like totally different perspectives on this. So this is from us watching the Oscars, and this is like our reactions to things. And some of mine are like literally like they're on my phone, and they're literally like, I haven't looked at these since last night, so I don't know. Some of these might be a little off, but
that's all right. That's all right. This is quick reaction time here. So we're good.
Here we go.
All right, so I'll start off with a hit.
Yeah,
which is probably one of your hits too, and that is Jimmy Kimmel. I love Jimmy Kimmel. I think he is a fantastic host. I think he's up there with Billy Crystal when it comes to hosting, although he's a very different style. I mean, Billy Crystal did the whole song and dance thing, and he was awesome. But Jimmy Kimmel just, he seems like he's just winging it. Like, obviously he's been rehearsing and he knows what he's going to say, but he just feels so natural and just so like in tune with what's happening. It's just so fun to watch him because he just is such a natural performer. And I love him as a host. I think he should host everything.
He's got like, he's got a natural delivery. He's like, he doesn't seem like overly too Hollywood as a presenter or as a host, and there's always like a little bit of unexpected, like you just don't know, you know, he'll change things, I think, on the fly as it goes, depending on how it's going, and little side comments that I don't think are scripted that he's just adding in. So based on what he's just seen like 2 seconds ago, like that's the thing with the host of this is he got to be on top of what's going on stage too. If something weird happens, you got to be able to react quickly on it. So, and he's a
Yeah.
comedy writer and he does a great job with it, I
He
think.
really does. He's just so funny. He really moves the show along. I think he's hilarious. And he's not afraid to put his own his own personal opinions into his deliveries, like with the
Yeah.
whole Trump thing. Everybody knows he's got a vendetta against Trump, and adding that in there, like things like that. He doesn't care.
No.
He's like a less controversial Ricky Gervais, I think.
Yeah, he did keep it a little safe, I thought, like, but at the same time, it's a celebration. And sometimes when they start really picking on people for no reason, I find it gets a little like a little tired after a bit. So I see what they're like why he did what he did. But I mean, there was still some pretty funny jokes on at people's expense in there, I thought it was, which was pretty funny.
I
Because
thought
these
that was
guys are like a bunch of rich, like not all of them, but a lot of them are like these rich celebrities, right? So it's like
yep.
it's
Yeah.
hard to be like
It's
not
a little bit of
poke a little bit fun.
it's a little bit of a celebrity roast.
It
Every
is a
year.
tiny bit, yeah. But I thought he did a great job. I thought it was fun and it was not, but just not too scathing on some of them. So it was a good time.
Yeah. All right. What do you got?
Yeah, I can start with a hit too, which I absolutely loved. This is one of my favorite things of the show.
Yeah.
7 p.m. start time where we are. Like the earlier start time, bring it
Yes.
on every year.
Yep.
Number one, we're not up to like 12:30 at night waiting for the last thing. I think it keeps regular programming for like news and late night news and things on track. It's just better. I think probably for the celebrities, that gives them an extra hour after the show to go out and do stuff. And I think it's great. I love it. I love the early start time on it. I think they should do that every year. It didn't hurt anything, and they're already in the midst of it anyways. Like with doing the red carpet before and all that. Anyways, just start it early and get it going.
100% agree. I thought that was fantastic. 10:30, and I think they actually finished early this year. It was
Yeah.
scheduled for 3.5 hours. It finished at like 9:25 or something like that. So they actually got, but yeah, and it was great. 10:30 done.
Yep.
And we got to watch our episode of Abbott Elementary right afterwards.
Which they didn't push at all during it. It was like
no, no. But I totally agree. I think earlier is good.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, they do the Super Bowl at like 6:30 in the evening. Why can't they do this early too? Makes
Yeah,
sense.
I don't know why no one's thought of this before. Like, it's just because no one like for viewership too. Like, I mean, you get invested around 6 o'clock, and it's hard to turn the TV off, and you're going to be going to bed at a half decent time and not being up to 12:30. Because I think a lot of people bail out, around 11 or whatever. Like, and I'll just find out who won the best picture, the next morning. But this
Exactly.
keeps you sort of invested through the entire thing, which I loved, and I wasn't like like, oh my God, finish already. Like I was actually. I could have taken a little bit more of it, to be honest, at that point. So
100%. Good one. I like that. All right, I'll go with another hit.
Okay.
Just while we're talking about the good stuff, the set design this year, personally, I thought was awesome. I thought their use of screens was super cool. The fact that they had like rectangular screens, they had like round screens at the back of the set. Then they had these drop down panels where they would introduce the different actors and actresses and all of that. I just thought the set design was really cool. And on top of that, so I'm going to couple this hit with another hit. When they had the Best Actress, Best Actor nominations, the awards, and they were presented by 5 past winners. And they dropped down these 5 video panels that showed the individual past winners holding their Oscars. Then these massive panels raised up, and those people were standing in spotlights behind there. That just gave me chills. Like it was almost like a wax museum come to life. Like it was just so. I just thought that was such a cool presentation. Showing them and then lifting it up, and there they were. They were right there. Oh my God, they're right there. That was I thought that was cool. Yeah, kudos to the set designer.
Yeah, we'll table the actors and actresses for a second because I want to talk about that specifically. I thought I liked the set. I like the use of that. That part was cool. I like those panels. I thought kind of generally it was kind of base. Like when I first started watching, I'm like, this is kind of a boring set. That's what I kind of was my initial reaction. But it wasn't like it seemed like it did what it needed to do. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. There wasn't anything spectacular about it. I thought it was like, it kind of reminded me of other sets from other years for some reason, but
Yeah,
um,
it wasn't too dissimilar. It was just for me, it was just the use of these screens that I thought was
yeah.
really cool. And the drop down and the come up, the 5 screens particularly, I thought was just a really cool
It
presentation.
worked for that for sure. I
Yeah,
like that section of it. There's a
yeah.
part where I thought it didn't work, but I'll get into that later.
Okay.
But the but I like that. But we might as well move into the actors and actresses. So
Sure.
like you're saying, the past winners of like past actors would kind of talk about each nominee
Yep.
before they be like as they went through them all and kind of had a nice sort of word to say about them or whatever. And I thought that was really cool. At first, the first time I saw it for I think it was supporting actress, I'm like, I like this, but this is really going to stretch the show out. They've done this before. They've done
Yes.
something like this in the past, but I
Yeah.
remember it's like, oh my God, this is going to stretch the show out really long if ever
Yeah.
they're talking about every single. But at the same time, I think it adds merit and it adds like a little bit of like a little charm, a little bit of like you get to, if you haven't seen these movies, it sort of like locks you in and makes you feel for each of these or not contestants, but each of these like nominees.
Yes.
I like that. Like I like to give them just a little bit more like sort of like pat on the back before they find out who wins.
Yeah. Well, and there was that, and then the other thing that I thought was really cool and gave me goosebumps a couple of times was that the people on stage were legends, most of them. Like
Yeah.
the past, they were legends. There was like Ben Kingsley and Forrest Whitaker, and they were like legendary actors who were talking to the nominees about how impressed they are with that performance. And just you could feel those nominees going, "Oh my God, like Ben Kingsley is gushing over my
Yeah.
performance." That's incredible. Like I just thought that was so cool, and Nicolas Cage up there, and and then the winner got to go up on stage and shake the hands of all 5 people who just gushed
You're
over.
walking up and there's all these legendary actors,
Yes,
whether they're younger or older, but they're all Oscar winners, and it was very impressive. Like it was
yeah,
very cool. Like I love like
that's
Jessica Lange. Like it's like these
yes,
people that I absolutely love, like
yeah,
these actresses that I love, and Charlize Theron and like these people that I'm like, oh my God, this is great. Like I love
yeah.
this.
Yeah, I
So
really like that. I thought that was very
it,
cool. But I thought the exact same thing when they did it for the first supporting actress, and it lasted like 10 minutes or something. I was like, this is going to be like a 6-hour broadcast if they're doing this for every
yeah.
actor and everything. But nope, they kept it to time. They knew what they were doing and they got it done. But I thought that was better than, because usually they'll just show clips of the performance, like of each person's performance from the movie, which is fine. You get to see what they did. But I thought this was much more meaningful, is to have a legendary Oscar winner talk about why that
Yeah, like one
performance.
of their peers coming out and
Yeah,
saying, you know what, you did an amazing job. You're one of
yeah,
those actors that keep giving or whatever they said.
yeah,
It was great. Some of them were kind of funny and some of them were like more serious. And it
yeah,
was just like you could feel the actor in the chair like be really affected by what they're
yes,
saying to them, like in
yes,
whatever way they did. And I thought it was really well done.
yeah.
The Robert Downey Jr. one was hilarious. I thought that
Oh,
was
so good.
uh it was just so funny and so good. So it
Yeah.
was
So
yeah,
is the Nicholas Cage talking about Paul Giamatti's lazy eye, and
yes.
that he wore a prosthetic, like a contact lens in there. Nicholas Cage, would I have done that? Absolutely, but you did it too.
You
Nicholas
know what, it
Cage.
was funny too, like because Nicolas Cage is often looked at like as this, he'll do anything and whatever, but he picks interesting roles, like roles
Yep,
that other actors wouldn't pick,
yep,
and like in these like independent films, and he's built quite a career on just based on that. Like he's a cult actor to me. Like people love Nicolas Cage, and
yes,
he came across in that as like a legend, and he came across as someone like the way he should, which
yep,
is like this actor that's like just doing work and doing interesting work that some of those other actors wouldn't touch.
yep,
But like look at a movie like Mandy. Like it's just so
yes,
out there, but Nicolas Cage can pull it off and none of the other actors can. I like even some of the ones on that stage. And
yeah.
I give kudos to Nicolas Cage, and he looked great up there. Like he was funny, he was charming, and he looked great. I loved it.
100%. Yeah. Big thumbs up to that move on the part of the Oscars.
Yeah, I remember they did it a few years ago, and I enjoyed it then. And I the only thing I was worried about was just like timing. That was the only
Yeah.
thing I was like, oh no, this is gonna start going fast. But
Yeah. But no,
um,
it worked
no,
out.
it was good. I loved it.
Cool.
I've got to miss
Yes,
Um,
let's hear a miss.
I felt the production in general, like the whole show, didn't seem tight to me. Like it seemed like there's a lot of like this is from the production side. There seemed to be a lot of like small, like they weren't big, but they were small little like kind of errors, like things that were just like, I'll give you some examples. Some of the music coming out, like when people would walk out, sometimes it was just silent. Like it's almost like they
Yeah.
forgot to play them
Yes.
on.
Yep.
There was a lot of shots of like they'd go to the like just like a shot of the audience, like, and there'd be a lot of people like standing, like letting people
Yes.
into the rows, like
Yes.
just like weird, like timing sort of stuff. Like it was just
Yeah.
like seat fillers just sort of going in, and like that part was, I felt really awkward. Like it's almost like they took the wrong camera or something. Like
Yes, I agree. But that happened a couple of times and they lingered on it. So I was like, get off of that shot. Like you're
yeah,
literally
yeah.
seeing it.
I don't think those were
Yes.
meant to happen. And
No, I don't think
also delays between, like they'd show like a video, you know, when they showed like like a clip of, let's say, like the best, like a best picture, like zone of interest or whatever. Then they
Yep.
go to the stage and there'd be this long delay before suddenly someone would like do an announcement that
Yeah.
they're like that to come out. So it just wasn't tight to me. Like it
Yeah.
just, I felt like it could have been a little tighter.
Yep.
And then I felt occasionally like they had, I think was it David Allen Greer doing the announcing, who has a
Backstage.
great voice. What's that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Backstage.
yeah, backstage had
Yeah.
a great voice, but then sometimes he'd be on camera, but I don't know if he was supposed to be, and sometimes he was like, because I like him a lot, and he was like the stuff he did was great, but then
Yeah.
all of a sudden there's one point where someone just pulled him into the shot, and he was like
Yeah.
didn't look like he wasn't supposed to be there, and like stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like I just wasn't sure, like I just thought they should have just been like very solid in how they were doing that. Like, because the
Yeah.
one year I remember they had him up in like a balcony, like,
Mhm.
and then they'd show them once in a while and they'd pull out, like, you know, do like a big, like sweeping shot as they were sort of doing the announcing once in a while. This just seemed kind of awkward and weird. Like, I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if he was supposed to be on camera, if he's not, 'cause he was only really on camera, I think twice in the
Yeah.
show. But, anyways,
Well,
I just thought
and
this wasn't tight. That's all I was.
exactly. And just to add on to that, that backstage hallway that they would cut to after the winners, just before they went to a break, there was one point where the president of the Academy was back there and she was delivering her message right after Billie Eilish and Phineas won for the Barbie song.
Yeah.
But they were coming off the stage, and that's how you get off the stage, was through that hallway. So she was talking, and then Billie Eilish sort of approached her and realized she was on camera talking, and kind of like plastered herself against the wall, thinking
Yes.
she was now in the shot, but she was in the shot. So then the president had to kind of like, oh, Billie Eilish, oh, come on now, come through. It was so awkward.
Yeah, I think
Like,
they're
why
trying
would
to
you
make it look like it's just like this is just what's going on backstage,
Yeah.
like the wackiness of backstage, but it didn't come across that way. It came across as
No.
like we don't not sure where people are supposed to be going. Like
Yes.
it's like it's very odd. I almost rather have seen them on the other side of the stage, so that when
Yeah.
you could see them exiting on the opposites behind them or whatever as they were talking or something. But I don't know. It just there's a lot of like just little things. I mean, they did the production. I'm not like poo-pooing on the production, the people that did it or anything. It's just as a viewer, I felt some of it just wasn't tight. Like it just
Yeah.
seemed it could have been a little tighter on some of the stuff. But I mean, that's just from us working in TV at one point, or you're still in TV, but it's just you tend to be more critical if you've worked in the industry a little bit. But I mean, I couldn't do any better. So I mean, I don't know why I do that, but it's like I just felt like this is the top notch stuff. And I'm going to talk about this in a bit too, in another miss, but this is where we need the best of the best, right? Like, and I just felt like I wasn't sure if they knew where they were going with some stuff. And sometimes it's not their fault. It's just like you're saying, like a badly staged hallway. Like it's just, and then they fell into the trap of that. But anyways, that was one of my misses.
All right. I will give you a miss. Not all the presenters did a great job.
This is what I was going to go into, like for exactly what you're about to talk about.
So there were two specifically that I noted here: Octavia Spencer and Melissa McCarthy.
That was one of mine.
I don't know what this was, or if they had just forgotten to script something for them, but their entire delivery was talking about Chippendale. Like Melissa McCarthy said, they're good friends, the two of them. They're like Chippendale, like the Disney characters. But Octavia Spencer played it into, we're not Chippendale, like the dancers. And he went on for like a minute and a half about, no, I said Chippendale, not Chippendales. Oh, you said Chippendales? No, Chippendale.
Oh my God. It's like they kept doing it till they got at least a laugh and then moved on.
Yeah.
But it was like, that's a classic, what we call the mishear, where you mishear
Yes.
something and it's like, and then, but this is my thing on this. It's like, this is the Oscars. You got to write better material. And also, not everybody needs to do a bit. Like, if they're
No.
good at it, like the John Cena bit worked, like when he went out, like that was like kind of funny. Like, but because Jimmy Kimmel was in on it and it was sort of like worked, or some of the bits like the twins one with Schwarzenegger and DeVito, where they're talking about like Batman both had beaten them. That's why they're connected. And then they go to Michael Keaton in the audience. That stuff worked, but there was a lot of like those kind of bits that like they're not necessary. Like, you don't need bits in there. There's other stuff that's funny. Like, it's
Exactly. And that
let Kimmel do the comedy for the most part, but you know,
that one to me just felt like they actually hadn't written anything. Like, it literally was like maybe the teleprompter was down or something, and they were just winging it. Like, I don't know who would have thought that would have been a funny bit. Like,
I think it was scripted. I think it was just not delivered very well. There was just a little bit of an awkwardness. Like, probably hadn't run it together really very well. And I think both are great. Like, I love both actresses, and I think Melissa McCarthy's hilarious. It just wasn't a well-written bit. Like, it was just kind of basic, I guess, like kind of a base bit. So
there was that. And then unfortunately, and it pains me to say it, but Al Pacino at the end.
Oh God, that's a whole other miss for me. Like, I've got a whole thing with that. Can we come back to that one?
Okay, we'll come back to that one.
That was like, we'll kind of end it with that, because that was a thing. So I got
but yes, so I thought, you're right. Just leave the comedy to the writers, to the ones who can actually pull it off. Like, good comedy teams. You don't like putting a dramatic actor with a comedy actor trying to pull off a comedy bit. Not always successful.
I think the problem was they came out and they started like talking about something else and then tried to go into the bit. And I think it just, the flow of it, had they jumped into that bit right off the top, I think it probably would have worked a bit. But I think it was the timing. I think their timing was off, and then it just threw the rest of the bit off. Like, it's like,
I agree.
So,
well, you can't win them all, I guess.
You can't. Okay, I've got a hit. Unless you have something, you just did a miss, right?
I just did a miss. Yep, we can go back to the hits.
Yes, I'm gonna go to a hit. I've got the stunt performers package. I enjoyed this. I thought that, I don't know why, it was just this little pack. I like sometimes when they do packages of like they'll focus in on like something that happens to do with film or an actor or like a type of film or whatever, whether it's the Western or whatever. I like seeing clips of the old movies, even though like just a little clip package. But this one was just on stunt performers, and they are one of the biggest parts of Hollywood, like that are like essentially overlooked, like as far as their contribution to film. And I just love that they did this. Like, I think that was a great little bit to show like what goes on to make a movie, like how it starts with the actor, and then they flip to like someone else and you don't even see the transition, but other than unless there's Tom Cruise doing your own stunts. But it's I love it.
It's also cool just to see the behind the scenes, like how these stunts are actually performed. The one where the guy jumped off of one building through the window of another building across the alley, and the camera followed him. That was awesome. Like, the camera guy was rigged, so the camera guy had to jump off the building as well. Like, that one clip alone made the pack for me. I thought that package was like, that scene was awesome. I had never seen that before, but what a cool, like, the camera people sometimes have to perform stunts. Like, that's cool to know. I do feel like there should be a stunt category in the Oscars. Like, I feel like there should be an Oscar nod to a stunt performer. I don't know exactly how that would work. Because I mean, not all stunts are equal. I mean, some are more dangerous than others.
I don't know if it'd be like a stunt team as opposed to like an individual stunt person, but like kind of like they do for
something like that. I mean, maybe like they would award a movie like stunts in Mission Impossible versus stunts in Expendables, or you know what I mean. I feel like it would be nice for a stunt team or stunt person to receive an Oscar for their performance, because seriously, I mean, they do some of the hardest work in the making of a movie. They should be. I mean, I know that they have their own awards system, but I just think an Oscar would be
the
nice.
Stunties, they're called.
Stunties.
Which didn't really take off as much as we thought they would, but
really aren't. But I thought that little package was awesome. I agree. That was very cool.
Very cool.
All right. Let's go to another hit. I'll do a hit.
Okay.
So, going to the original song category, I thought it was very cool that they had the indigenous song from Killers of the Flower Moon, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it right. Waxahachie, I think is what how it was pronounced. But that was the first time we'd ever seen that before. And when I watched the movie, I thought that that was like a traditional piece of music that they had just run in the movie, but I didn't realize it was written for the movie. But it was, I thought that that was very cool that they had nominated that as a best song.
Yep.
And the performers and the dancers performing, I just thought that was, it was so new to the Oscars to do something like that. And I think it was time that that happened, that not all songs are in English or, you know,
Or
are
like a hit
traditional.
song or
Yeah,
whatever it is. Yeah.
exactly. If it impacted the movie, if it was important to the story, it should be nominated. And this one was. This was impactful to the movie, and it made sense. And I just thought that was really cool. I think you know that didn't necessarily have to do with the broadcast, but the way it was performed had to do with the broadcast. And I thought
Yeah.
that
No,
was,
great. I loved it. I thought that was
yeah,
a great part of the show for sure. And
yeah, I
um,
thought that was pretty cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
So,
And I'll move into a hit off that, but it was the
all right.
performance of the I Am Ken.
Yes. Oh,
That was so well done, and
yeah,
it was just great start to finish. It was just entertaining. I just thought it was just like it seemed big. It seemed like a
yeah.
lot of like crazy, like all of a sudden Slash and like uh
Yes.
and Wolf, is it Wolfgang Van Halen? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah. I think that's right.
he's there. I'm like, what
Yeah.
is going on in this? Like, it's so crazy. It just got so crazy and weird.
Yeah.
It represented the Barbie thing well, and not taking away from Billie Eilish's like kind of moving performance, but it was just what you expected it to be was big, and they made it bigger than I thought it was going to be, and it was awesome.
And that's the kind of thing that we expect at the Oscars, is these big performances. That's the way they used to be when they used to do song performances. They used to be these massive, like, big spectacles. And you know, and so that was definitely an Oscar performance. And I feel like that's going to go down as one of the top Oscar moments in history. Like, I think when people look back at, you know, the top 10 moments in the Oscars, I think that that might enter
Yep.
the list, because it was so epic. And Ryan Gosling just did a phenomenal job
Oh,
playing to,
great.
like, walking down into the crowd and having, you know, Greta Gerwig and all the all the people singing along, and it just, like, the entire audience was involved and into it. And
Yeah.
it was so, I mean, the fact that Emma Stone got up on stage after she won and talked about how her dress broke during the performance of I Am Ken, probably because she was dancing so hard or jumping up and down, whatever she was doing. Like, it was just so involved, and it was
I,
so fun.
and I
Yeah.
felt for Ryan Gosling too, because here's a guy like he did the movie and whatever, and he's not like a singer by trade or anything.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it gets nominated, and he probably knew, okay, now I'm gonna have to perform this because that's how they do it. Like I'm the
Yeah.
singer on it, so it's like, and he did a great job. Like he was just so
Oh,
fun. It
yeah.
was a kind of like a boost of fun that was needed at that moment in the show. So I thought, oh man, that was incredible, so good.
Yeah. The only thing that would have made it better is if it had actually won the Oscar. I mean, I understand why Billie Eilish's song won. It was very heartfelt and very
Yeah,
powerful. So that I accept that. That's fine. That is okay with me. But I really did want to see that one win. I just thought that would have been just the topper. I thought that would have been so cool. Like,
yeah.
the reaction in the crowd would have been, in the audience would have been like a rapture of excitement.
Like it's
If
just erupted.
yeah. So I was kind of hoping to see that, but it didn't. But yeah, that was awesome. I thought that was so good.
Yeah, I'm just Ken, just like perfect. It was just like just a fun performance, perfect performance, and
Yeah.
it was just a lot of fun.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Can I give you another hit?
You may.
All right. Biggest hit of the night for me.
Okay.
Maybe I'll save this one. Okay, I'll go to a second one. I'll save that one. Another fun moment. It's the fun moments that make the Oscars, like, really interesting, I think. And having Guillermo from the Jimmy Kimmel show
Oh
in
yeah.
the audience, having served tequila to the whole to the whole main floor, and just getting people's names wrong, and just being kind of
Yeah,
drunk.
that was a funny bit.
Uh,
That was a good bit.
I thought that was hilarious. Guillermo is so funny, I think, and I just thought that was a very funny a very funny bit. Yeah, why did you serve him a drink? He just seemed to need a drink right now. I don't know. I just thought that was, and then everybody with their tiny bottles of tequila with their little straws. I just thought that was great. It just made me happy. Guillermo makes me happy.
Yeah, there was a lot of good like little moments in that show that was like the whole Kate McKinnon and Spielberg
Yes.
moment. That was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
I love just like the quick cut to like everybody clapping and they had the dog. It had
Oh
like
yes.
the fake pause. It was
Yeah.
like that made me laugh too. I thought that was like
Yes.
I love anything with animals is funny, but that was
I got to tell you, when that happened, my wife said, "Hey, it's Toonses." It was Toonses, the Oscar dog.
yeah.
Which I
I
thought was
love that they used that dog and brought it back. Like it was,
yeah.
and then even that little like at the very end of the show, I don't know if you saw it, where they had like the Matt Damon star on Hollywood Walk of Fame, and the
Oh
dog
no.
was peeing on it. Did you
Oh,
see
I
that?
totally missed that. No, I didn't see
It was just
that.
at the very end. It was like almost at the end of the credits, and they cut to
Oh,
outside, and then the dog was peeing on or had his leg lifted above the Matt Damon
that's doing
star.
awesome.
Because of
Oh,
course Kimmel and Matt Damon have a big like fake rivalry, right? So
yes. Oh,
I
that's
thought
awesome.
that was very fun. Like that was
I
very
totally
cool.
missed that. That's very good. I love it.
So this is a miss for me. I didn't like the in memoriam.
That's interesting because I had it on my hit list.
I
But
hated
go
it. In
ahead.
fact, I hated it. I didn't
Wow.
like it at all.
Okay, why?
And I love and I don't want to, it sounds bad. I love the in memoriam part because
Yeah.
I like to see who passed away over the past year and kind of like remember their performances and go, oh yeah, I forgot this person passed away and they were so
Yeah.
great in this, because it just sort of like it's a way of honoring these people.
Yeah.
I just want to see the screen. I don't want to see all these like I couldn't read half the names because they did this wide shot of the stage and they're in like a little tiny video screen at the back, and I kind
Yep.
of missed who it was. Like I couldn't read it, and I didn't like they're flipping screens all over the place, and they had all these dancers out there, and it's
Yeah.
like show me the in memoriam. I don't need to see all this other like I don't mind if it's just someone in a spotlight singing and they just show them once in a while and
Yeah.
then show more of the clips. This was too much. It was all thrown, it was all shown practically from the stage perspective, and I just couldn't see what was going on. So I missed
Yep.
half of them. I didn't know what was going on.
I agree. And that I had the exact same feeling when I first started watching it. I'm like, why would they distract from the people on the screen, like the people who actually passed away, by having a troupe of dancers? Because of course you're going to be looking at the dancers. Like
Yeah.
I totally agree. It should the in memoriam should be a singer, like or somebody on a piano or something, and a full screen so that you can honor the people who have passed away. But
Yeah.
having a stage show really did distract. The only reason I had it on my hit list because I really like the use of the screens, and I like that they changed it up. Like I liked it wasn't just everybody was just on one screens. Like the ones who people didn't know as well, like the production designers and the there was a an entertainment lawyer attorney who passed away, like the people who generally we wouldn't know, they were on those 5 drop down panels,
Yeah.
so they could do like 5 people at a time. But then when it went back to people we knew, they went to the bigger screen. So I thought that they made use of the screens in a nice way, just showing, but it was, again, you're right, it was so distracting by having the orchestra playing and the dancers and the singers, and it was a lot going on, and it was like, oh yeah, by the way, there's some slides happening behind you that you should probably look at too.
And at the end, there's a circular one, and it had like all these names come up, and I couldn't read any of them. I was like, I don't know who any of those people are because I can't.
Well,
Like,
I just assumed, I agree, I couldn't either. I just assumed that was everybody. Like the names were literally everybody that they had already
yeah,
shown were just in one circle. But yeah, it was a lot.
we shouldn't have to assume, Larry. We should be able to
I
see it and
know
read
you
it as a
should know.
viewer.
That's true.
I just
But
thought it
yeah,
was. I know what you're saying. Like the screens were kind of neat, but like it would have been good to show, like the screen, like it go to it, then dissolve to like a full screen, so we can actually be reading what's going on. I just found it
yes.
was just too distracting, and it was too artsy for what it needed to be. I just
Yeah.
want to see who passed away in the last year. I don't need
Yeah.
the rest
I
of
agree.
it's like the rest of it's too distracting, and I didn't like it. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that right now. Didn't like
So
it.
now it's ended up on my hit and miss list. So
I
I
got it
agree.
on both.
You convinced me. It's now on both my hit and miss list.
That's
All
hilarious.
right.
I've only got one more miss, and I'm good for the show after that.
Okay. I've got one miss. And this is just sorry. I've got 2, but but they're my personal opinions. So
Okay, all right.
necessarily, okay. The first one is I really, I, so having seen all of the best pictures, my personal choice for best picture was Poor Things, and I
Yeah.
really thought because it was so unique. I mean, it was so unique. It was such a different kind of movie, and it was a different story. um as much as I loved Oppenheimer, and I saw it twice in the theater. That's, that's 6 hours of time I spent in the
That's a
movie theater
lot.
watching
Yeah.
this movie. And I really, it was a phenomenal movie. I'm not discounting it at all, but it was a biopic. Like, it was a biopic. It was done really well, but it was
Yeah.
a biopic. I think Poor Things was outside the box. I've never seen anything like it before. And the style of the movie. So ultimately what I'm trying to say is I think Yorgos Lanthimos should have won Best Director. I really think that coming up with that sort of a movie, with the amount of production, like the production design and cinematography, that was so unique, and it stood out among absolutely
Yeah.
everything that was out there this year. I thought he did a fantastic job, and I know that Christopher Nolan won because they petitioned him to win. They campaigned for him to win based on his body of work. It
Yeah.
was one
That,
of
that
those,
happens quite often.
it does happen. And I thought it was a shame that with a movie like Poor Things out there this year, that um this was the year that Christopher Nolan was recognized, because I just think I don't I there's I just that movie was so unique to me and so well done, that it just made me a little bit sad that Yorgos was not given the best director. That was my personal thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought it was a better movie than Oppenheimer. I like both. I thought both were
Yeah.
great. I just thought, just for the originality of Poor Things, and it's just a beautiful movie to watch. It's a beautiful. It's
Yes.
like there was nothing like it this year, and I feel exactly the same way. I'm in your camp on that because
Yeah,
it was.
and the
I thought it
fact
was
that he
better.
got those performances out of Emma Stone and Mark Ruffalo. Like, he directed Mark Ruffalo into a character that is so out of his comfort zone. Like, that is,
Yeah,
I've never seen Mark Ruffalo perform that way. That's the result of a director. I mean, that's how that works. I mean, Cillian Murphy was phenomenal, but I don't think it would have taken as much work to get him to that place as it took Yargos to get Mark Ruffalo to that place. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I feel like he had a harder job, and I feel like he should have been recognized for that.
yeah.
So that was just my personal thing, and I'm just gonna throw in one more miss. And again, this is my personal thing. The first time uh, Wes Anderson has ever won an Oscar, I believe. I think
Yeah,
this
well,
might
it
be,
is. It is. They said it
and
last
it's
night.
the first movie of his that I have not seen. And it just made me so mad that myself. It was so easy to see. It was on
It was a
Netflix.
short film too. It
It was
wasn't
like
like a
20 minutes.
regular.
Yeah, it was like 20 minutes long or something. It's been on Netflix forever, for whatever. And I've seen everything Wes Anderson's done. Like, he's like in my top 5 movie directors. I've seen everything. This is the one thing I didn't see, and this is the one time he won.
I know.
I was like, come on.
In his
Anyway,
credit,
yeah.
I thought that it gives some validity to the short, like a big piece of
Yes.
validity to the short film, because I know some directors do short films. I know
Yeah.
Lynch has done them. I know a lot
Yeah.
of like directors have done them, but I think this gives actually this category a little bit more clout, and
Yeah.
I think you'll be seeing more like directors doing some passion projects that are in a shorter, like, I don't know how long that movie is. I don't know what qualifies it to be a short film, but
I think it was only 20 minutes long. Like, I think it was literally
yeah. But
short.
to me now, suddenly this category, which I never thought was interesting, is suddenly interesting to me now. I'm gonna
Yeah.
watch that film.
Yeah.
I had no clue that was like he even did that film. Like
Yeah.
I
He did a
hadn't heard a
he
lot
did a
about it.
he did a series of shorts. They're all on Netflix, and I don't remember the name of them all, but there are, I think, like 3 or 4 of them that he released within like a week of each other. This was one of them, and then there are 2 more, and I watched the other ones, but I didn't watch this one. So yeah, it's really cool what he did this year, and just making a series of these short films. I think they're based on Roald Dahl books, if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken. Um, I think that's what they are. But yeah, so he released, I think, at least 3, all within a short time frame. But yeah, it just annoyed me that that was the one I didn't watch, and I feel like I
I don't
let
know.
Wes Anderson down.
Yeah, well, you can't see everything.
I guess so.
Yeah.
All right,
um,
you have anything
so
else?
my final miss
Okay.
is the Al Pacino thing,
All
and
right.
and I'm not gonna say it's entirely his fault, but stop Academy using like these classic actors to give out the final award. It seems
Mhm.
like every year something goes wrong. Like every
Yes.
year someone like fumbles something or just says weird things or just is awkward or is just get someone out there that can actually present. Like, because the
Yes.
thing is, this is the final like award of the night, and you want it to be kind of exciting. So it's like, the winner is, and they open, everyone's like, oh my God, who's it gonna be? Like he just sort of like mumbled his way through it. Like he wasn't prepared, it seemed like. I know he was supposed to do it, I think, with somebody else,
Oh.
and like from Scarface, I can't remember what her name is, but she couldn't make it. But I don't think that really affected anything. Anyone can pick up, and I mean, he's an actor, like he knows what he's
Yes.
doing. And
Yeah.
he just sort of like is like, oh, I see Oppenheimer here, and
Yes.
and everyone's like, and then everyone's in their seats like, was that the announcement of the winner?
Yeah.
Is he reading like nominees, or is like, I'm like, what is he doing? Like he just kind
Yeah.
of ruined the whole end of the show for me
Yeah.
because he's just being a goof and just
Yeah.
you know what you're doing. You've been in this business for years, and I like Pacino, but just be normal. Like, just you don't have to be like weird and eccentric just for the sake of
Yeah.
argument. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
I agree. That was such an anticlimactic ending when he said, "Oh, I see Oppenheimer here," and literally everybody just went silent. Like, what do you mean? Like
Like,
I thought, get it wrong? Is that not right? I didn't know what was happening.
yeah, I don't know. And it was like, unless the prompter wasn't working, he was just trying to ad lib or something. But I mean,
I
that's
don't know.
terrible. It was terrible. It's not that hard. You just say, like, and he didn't even read the nominees, which I don't know if he needed to,
Yeah.
but it was like, just get people pumped, get people
Yeah.
ready to go. It's like, oh my God, here we are, guys. This is it. Like, this is the big one for the night.
Yeah.
And then just read it. Like, you don't have
Yeah.
to be all weird about it. And
No,
like,
just being there is enough. Like, just it's Al
yeah.
Pacino reading the thing. That was good. But yeah, you're
Accept your
right.
standing O and then read it.
Yeah,
Like, but it
exactly. But
does it
you're right.
not seem like every year someone like a
Yes.
classic actor will come out to present it and it's always really weirdly done?
Yeah.
Like it's very
Yeah.
awkward, or the person's like just like it's like they've never read something before. Like, I don't know what was happening. Like,
I don't know.
just read it.
Or they bring out the wrong card and read the wrong name. And that happened. I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah, I forgot about that too. That is just
Yes,
like
that happened.
why?
Yeah, I don't know. You're right. I agree. That was such a like a killer. They killed the whole ending of the show. Was just, and it's sad because it's Al Pacino. It should have been
Yeah.
awesome.
Put those classic actors in the introducing the people like they did earlier in the show. That was a
Yes.
great use of taking classic actors or like the elite of Hollywood
Yeah.
and having them present. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need it at the end. Put someone in there that can speak and do
Yes.
it. Like,
And
I'd
be
rather see
glam-
Jimmy Kimmel giving that last award
Yeah.
as the
Yeah.
host than that, because then he can kind of joke, oh, it's the last award of the evening, kind of move into it and do it.
Yeah.
But I just like
That
just
was
pick
not a good
someone that
idea.
you know is going to deliver it, like deliver the goods, which is an exciting ending to the show.
Yeah,
But
I completely agree. That was just
stop using legends for this. Like, just use again, like use someone who can speak. That's all we're asking, and not be weird. You don't need to be weird during this. Like, just
no weird. We don't need weird. No, Melissa McCarthy and Octavia Spencer. That was weird enough. We don't need, we don't need any other weird.
I felt so bad for them. I think it was just a badly written bit. And they just got off the timing of it just got off, and it happens to the best of them, right? Like, it's just, I've seen a lot of like good comedians just like flub stuff, and it's just
Yeah,
that's what happens. Like,
yes, it was unfortunate. All right, okay, so I'm gonna end with one more hit.
Okay,
And
good. We'll
this
leave
was,
on the positive. All right.
we'll leave on a positive. This was the biggest moment of the entire night for me.
Okay.
And that was when Godzilla -1 won the best
Awesome.
visual effects. I literally like jumped out of my chair with excitement. I was so like, it was a small budget, relatively movie. It was like a foreign film, essentially. It was made in Japan. It was Toho International. It was not a Hollywood blockbuster, but it beat Mission Impossible. It beat Guardians of the Galaxy. It, like, all of the big names that always win.
Yeah.
This one blew it away. And honestly, the special effects in this movie, did you get a chance to see it?
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, the special effects are phenomenal. Like they are really, when I've seen it, I saw it twice in the theater, and they really are spectacular. Like there's not a lot of them. Like they don't overdo it. It's not like a hugely special. I mean, there's a lot of destruction and stuff like that, but and it was just so nice to see Godzilla after 70 years of Godzilla movies finally being recognized for, I mean, it's never going to get Best Picture, I don't think. So this is really the thing it could get, and it got it. And I was so excited that Godzilla finally was on the Oscar stage. I thought that was so cool. And the fact that it was this movie on its 70th anniversary.
Yeah, that's cool.
That got it. It was just, that was, for me, that was a huge moment. I was very excited because I'm such a big Godzilla fan. So that made the whole show for me. Everything else was fine, but that was the thing I'm gonna remember from the 96 annual.
Like I just, from just the trailer alone, like when Kong has that power glove on and he's fighting like all those monkeys, like I can't wait to see it. It's gonna be like the other Kongs, like in the baby Kong, like, and this looks so good. And Godzilla comes out and helps him out. They're just best friends, just trying to get through life. And I just is that the
Good night, everybody. Good night. We'll see you next time.
Do you think, I use that example only because, do you think the credibility that Godzilla -1 got is sort of will take the steam out of this other Godzilla like sort of universe they've created? Because you can see they can do a good Godzilla movie, yes, and none of these have been that great.
No. I honestly do. I honestly hope, because like I said, I'm such a big Godzilla fan, but I'm not a fan of the Godzilla verse, like the new ones that are coming out. And this new movie that's coming, the trailers are, to me, are so cringeworthy. Like that baby King Kong. I
want to boot it.
I know. It's so cringeworthy. So I really hope that they look at what Godzilla -1 did and say, you know what, we can actually make a good, strong Godzilla movie, and it doesn't have to be goofy, and it doesn't have to be, Jurassic Park with Godzilla. I really hope it does. I really hope this changes the Godzilla verse, because
I think so too.
So much better. But yeah.
So overall, Oscars I thought were like, they're pretty standard. They were like they didn't like blow anybody away, but I just thought it was a tight, like the production wasn't tight, but I thought it was like the timing of it was good, of the full show, and I thought they had a lot of good stuff. We've gone through that all, so I think overall I give it probably like an 8 out of 10.
8 sounds right to me. Yep, I could
right.
say I could give it an 8, and I'd be quite happy with that.
Awesome. Well, that's the end of the show. Again, check us out on our socials. We got some great shows coming up. And just make sure you stick around. And you're going on vacation, right?
I am. I'm on vacation. I just want to make one quick note. In our last show, we mentioned that we were going to have a special with my cousin, Anita Rosenberg from Hollywood, one of the 80s Hollywood directors. That's been pushed till essentially the middle of April now. So it's still coming. Don't worry. We just had to adjust things a little bit, but it is still coming. So mid-April, we'll be giving you a special episode with her. But so I just wanted to give you the update on that.
The funny part, I'll just give this quick story. So she's got a book, and I want to read it before she comes on. So I've read it. It's all about like Hollywood and her working in Hollywood and doing films and stuff. And so I got it. I ordered it from Amazon. So I got a thing the other day saying like, here's an update on your book. And I'm like, okay, this is when it's going to come out. It's like, no update on the book. It basically said right above below it, there's been no update. We'll tell you when it's going to ship. Oh, well, thanks for sending me that email. Tell me essentially nothing about this book. So I'll be ready for it. But again, thank you for joining us. We'll see you. We'll probably do a show in between those two shows, and we'll see you next time on Loop and Larry, Guardians of Geek.
Bye-bye.
Produced by Matthew C. Loop and Lawrence Simner. A Loop and Larry production.
Bueller.
He likes it. Hey, Mikey.
Bueller.
Bad news. The fog is getting thicker.
And Leon's getting larger.
Inconceivable.
Brian's right. It's an elf.
Wax on.
Does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe?
Oh, Captain, my captain.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Wax off.